All right, so what you're doing is you're buying used and abused properties that you're going to try to either fix up or you're going to try to resell. In other words, you're going to recycle the property back into the marketplace. Government officials at the local level will conduct the auction. In this episode, I'm going to make sure you understand some of the auction rules and some of the things to be cautious of. So, how does a tax deed auction work? Welcome back. My name is Ted Thomas. We're going to talk about how does a tax sale work. Now, a tax deed sale is really an auction. So what you're doing is you're buying used and abused properties that you're going to try to either fix up or you're going to try to resell. In other words, you're going to recycle the property back into the marketplace, but you're going to try and get it at a bargain price. You'll be able to do that if you do your research and you know what you're going to do on your exit strategy. Now, nationwide, there's going to be 5,000 tax defaulted auctions this year. So these auctions start with a legislative body that says this is what we're going to do with properties that people don't pay their taxes. Then the legislative body turns to the county supervisors or the county commissioners and says these are the rules, and we expect the tax collector and the treasurer to follow the rules. So everything will be executed and the auction will be conducted by the treasurer. Now, the treasurer has a lot of people within the county working, like the tax collector, the tax assessor, and of course county employees. But those are all official employees and they can all auction the property. So how much is the property going to auction for? Well, taxes are basically 1 or 2% of the value of the property. Now, places like New York and California, some other states, they might have a higher than 2% tax. But basically, it's the back taxes. And what the county wants is they want to collect those taxes. They're going to have a public auction and they're going to sell that property to the absolute highest bidder. Now, very few people have done any investigation on what's going on, yet they show up at an auction and think that they're going to do well. I'm going to tell you, go and watch a few auctions before you even think about bidding. Now, when that auction takes place, whether there's a tenant in the property or you're in the property or anybody that owns the property, they are going to sell that property to the absolute highest bidder. The highest bidder will get a property without a mortgage. As a matter of fact, many of the mortgages might be deleted from the property. All right, well, how will you know about these auctions? Well, just like what you're seeing right now. They're going to be in the newspaper. They'll also be on the county website, and they'll announce the auction, and they'll show a list of the properties by the actual tax number. So you might have to get the number and then go look it up at the county and see what property it is. But there will be public notices and it will be a public auction. All right, there's no surprises. The owner has had many notices of default. Now, those notices of default are pretty darn serious. Government officials at the local level will conduct the auction. And when they do conduct that auction, they have been given authority to do a lot of things. For example, they have the power of sales. They can sell that property. They also have the power to wipe out the mortgage at the official county records. They can wipe the records absolutely clean. So that means that this could be a house that's kind of pristine in a certain way. I don't make these rules. I'm just passing on the rule to you. State legislature made the rule, passed it down to the county, and the county is executing all that. Now, the tax collector means business at these auctions. In other words, they are responsible people and they're going to conduct a very responsible auction, meaning the price will start low, probably at very close to the back taxes, and it'll keep getting bid up until someone wins. The highest person will win. All right, now what happened to the property? It was confiscated. So it didn't cost the county anything. They basically confiscated, they seized the property, they moved the tenants or the residents off the property, and they're selling it to you. So that's called a public tax defaulted auction, which you're seeing. So these auctions could take place. Sometimes they're online, sometimes they're offline. It's just going to be up to the county. But I can assure you, it's the law, and the county will auction the properties. It's going to start small. So it's a competitive auction. If it's a large county with a lot of people, there'll be a lot of people bidding. If it's a small county and there's not a lot of people, well, the bidding probably won't go quite as high. But there's going to be plenty of bidding going on, and the highest bidder will get the property without a mortgage. You need to know the rules. If you don't know the rules, don't go to that auction. Or before you go, just find out from the website or find out what the auction rules are going to be so that you know specifically what process is going to take place. There's no tricks. The county treasurer is a serious person, and they're going to follow the exact rules of the auction that were outlined by the legislature and the county board of supervisors. Anybody can show up at the auction. Anybody can buy. It's public auction. It'll always be held in a public place. For example, the courthouse steps. Or if it's a large auction, could be held inside a county building, or could be even held out in the fairgrounds. This is a legal process. There's no way you're going to change it. If you think you're going to go argue with those people, you are not going to argue with them. Not going to do you any good to get mad. They'll actually have the sheriff remove you. All right, so the auctioneer is going to follow rules. Are you going to get the rules? Yes. You can get the rules from the county. You can get them from the website. And more than likely, when you go to the auction, they'll have them written down so that you can read them.
Hello, Ted. What are two big mistakes that can happen at tax deed auctions?
Two big mistakes that happen at the auction. Big mistake number one is people do not look at the property. If you haven't looked at the property, I'm going to tell you not to bid. There's a lot of reasons not to bid. It could have been a windstorm. There could have been a flood. Could have been a fire. What if it was next to a chicken farm? There can be all kinds of things wrong with that property that you wouldn't want it after you bought it. Once you buy the property, I'm telling you, it's buyer beware. The county will have sold it and the auction is over. There's not going to be another auction and you're not going to give it back to them. Second big mistake is people get all involved in the bidding and they bid too much. So that means they didn't have a strategy for selling. So you want to have an exit strategy so you know exactly what you're going to sell it for before you start bidding. All right, my name is Ted Thomas. I have a free gift for you. Just go below me and register. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.